Hey neighbor, I just thought this morning, this is Alicia Dolan here at Crafting in My Corner. I was just thinking this morning I would come on here live and share a little bit of a story with you. Because I believe our lives are made up of thousands of little stories that happen. And I just kind of wanted for you to get to know why I like Stampin' Up so much and why I share so much, and just it kind of gives you maybe a little insight into me, which if you're not interested, that's okay, but I just thought it would be fun. So to share just a little bit of my story, I joined Stampin' Up for the very first time in 2008, which is actually kind of a long time ago, because of a magazine. Well, initially because of a friend. My friend Jillian, oh, thank you, Kathy. My friend Jillian took me to a scrapbooking store in 2008. Now that's before I had kids and when I worked full-time, and I did not want another hobby. I love all hobbies and all things crafty, and I have as long as I can remember. My grandmother and my mom, they're both very crafty. Both of my grandmothers are very crafty. My one has passed on, and if you look around behind me real close, you'll find I'm still sorting through some of the stuff that she left behind for me. But crafting takes me back, okay? It takes me back in my memories to those times that I spent with them learning things. And even with my great-grandmother, who would teach me small crafts too. So in 2008, I went with my friend Jillian to a scrapbooking store, and I said, I do not need another hobby. I'm not going to take this up. I already crochet and I knit, and I am trying to learn to sew, and I bead all the time because I also worked at a bead store just part-time for my friend's family, and I loved it. I loved craft. But I went anyways, and I started a scrapbook. A scrapbook I still haven't finished, I will tell you. It's sitting on a shelf over there in the other side of the basement. I'll finish it someday, maybe. We'll see. So I went to the scrapbooking store, and I really love scrapbooking, and that was my friend Patty's store. So I have a lot of little friends in this story, a lot of connections that I don't want to forget, and that maybe you're interested in too. We develop these stories with our friends, not just by ourselves, but they make us who we are, right? So I went to this store with my friend. I said I was going to be like right on with my story and I wasn't going to get distracted, but I will. I'm trying hard. I even made myself notes, which is kind of silly, but I did. So I went to this scrapbooking store with my friend, and I fell in love with scrapbooking, with paper crafts and paper art and all things paper and ink. So I happened to pick up, and I still have it, in 2008, this magazine. If you can see it, it's called the Stamper Sampler. And as I looked through this magazine, I found so many beautiful stamps. And I noticed that what they had in common was they were Stampin' Up stamps. Now, there were a few in there that were not Stampin' Up stamps, but for the most part, that's what they were. So I went online and I searched up Stampin' Up! And I had to find where I could get these stamps. And I learned that it's a direct sales company. So I signed up under a demonstrator who lived not even 5 minutes from me. And I met with her once and she gave me all the information I needed. So when I joined the first time, I only wanted the discount. I wanted a discount on those stamps that I really loved. And I learned a lot about them, and I grew to like them even more and more and more and more. So I love the stamps. The paper is great. The ink is wonderful. The tools work really good. I loved all of it. So, hold on one second. Man, can you see if someone's knocking at the door? I thought I heard something.
Yeah.
Just real quick.
Okay.
Sorry, I think I hear someone knocking upstairs. So that was 2008. I really liked it. In 2009, the company that I worked for offered buyouts. Now I had been there just about 9 years. I've been married to my husband for 3 years at that point. And in 2009, I was pregnant with my first baby. And so we had talked about it. And I have some medical issues I have that make it really hard for me to stand and work. Standing still is really hard for me. So my husband and I talked about it, and I took that buyout and planned to stay home and raise kids and do what I could from home. Long story, but I didn't actually become a full-time mom until 2011 when my second daughter was born. So I promised I wouldn't do that, but that's part of my story too. I'm sorry, you guys. I didn't mean to tear up. Anyways, life happened. And things got hard and they got complicated. But I have 2 beautiful daughters now. And I definitely spend most of my time taking care of them. They're older now. They're 8 and 10. But in that time frame, between 2009 and I would say just a couple of years ago, I was really busy in the trenches of parenting and learning about parenting and trying to get to a new place where I could craft a little bit more. So in the meantime, when they were little, it was easy, and I could take, if they were taking a nap, I had time. But I didn't have very much time to focus on my Stampin' Up! Business. And really, when I joined, it was just for, thanks, Kathy. Now, see, I'm tearing up again. But it helps to know that, that you guys care about my story. So in 2020, I rejoined Stampin' Up! I ran into a new friend, Michelle, and she is an amazing Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. She does lots of wonderful things. And so I rejoined, and I'm trying to focus a little more this time on the business end of things. I love crafting with Stampin' Up! Supplies, and I love crafting in general, but it helps to have good supplies and things that make it easier. So having good paper, I'll think about it. Having good paper and ink and stamps makes it so much easier. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that with you, like, why do I do Stampin' Up? And so as I move forward and try to focus a little more on the business end of things, it's so that I can continue to stay home and to focus on my kids as they grow up, and to focus on my health as I move forward. But thank you for joining me this afternoon. I don't actually have a craft project to show you today. I don't have a card ready. I didn't plan on that. I just wanted to share a little tiny bit of a story with you. And if you ever want to share some of your story with me, I am glad to hear it. I love hearing our stories, and I love the way that our stories come together to make us different than we were before. Thanks, everyone. I hope you have a great Saturday and that you get to do some crafting, and that you have a little time to think about your story and why you do the things you do, because it is important. It makes a big difference. I'll see you later, neighbors.